Alrighty, as Ronnie has a sip of his coffee, we're back at the Four Drive podcast driven by Shelter. We're going to talk a little bit about manual versus automatic today, Ronnie, but don't get started just yet because you might run away with it. That is Southern River Band with Let It Ride, obviously bringing us in. Who they've actually brought out a new single, latest release, Vice City 3, I believe it's called. Have a look at that. That is a tune. We just had a quick listen ourselves, and Ronnie, it took you back to your
90s?
Your younger days, mate. The Four Drive podcast on Instagram. Our episodes are over on BackChat's YouTube. Patrons over at Patreon. Thank you for your support. If you want to join, patreon.com/the Four Drive podcast. Head on over for some extra content, some giveaways, some little bit more connection over there. And we've got our audio messages up. Oh, the Patreon numbers? I'm not sure. 30?
33.
We're growing every time, which is good.
Beautiful.
And we are light on the messages. When I say light on, we don't have any. The voice messages. that is anyone that can give us those.
Yeah.
And
we also haven't done them.
we haven't even tried them ourselves, but they are on the BackChat Studios website, and you just hit the Four Drive podcast, follow the little links. It's 3 buttons, I think we figured out last time. So go and have a look at that. How are you, Ronnie?
I'm good. I'm good. It's like 9 minutes to sunrise.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't check that.
9 minutes.
There you go. Yeah, we're up early at the Four Drive podcast.
Yeah, we are. That's good. It's good.
How are you going, Jaden? You looked a bit more tired than the last couple of times we've been in here.
I look more tired.
A little bit tired.
I think because you didn't go to the gym this morning.
I didn't go to the gym this morning, so I don't have the same energy.
Ah, righto. Are you feeling all right?
Yeah, wow.
Did you get a coffee on the way in?
I didn't. I'm going to get one after this.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it didn't go, so...
We'll try and not put you to sleep, mate, while you're behind the...
Yeah, I was going to put Netflix on the TV behind you, but...
People
might be rude, wouldn't
it? All right, now we'll get straight into it on the radar, because our episodes have been going quite a while. I don't know how, but we've been getting a little bit carried away, so...
51 now,
50 came out last week.
Oh, was that? Oh, really?
51.
It was too, yeah.
The recording of 51.
We're almost a year full of content.
So we released our very first episode 1 June 9th last year.
Oh wow!
So we're pretty close. Yeah.
Right, there you go. It's gone quick. Anyway,
it has gone quick, and like getting to 50 last week was great feeling, right? But now when you're at 51, you're like, let's get to 100.
Yeah, I know. I wonder where we'll be at 100 episodes. I wonder what.
Be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder where
a lot happened in the first 50.
Yeah.
A lot happened in the... Yeah, surely we need to if we get to 100...
What car will I be driving episode 100? That's the question.
Yeah, see, that'll be interesting.
That's anyone's guess. That is...
Whole Marina.
You've had 3 in the time that we've been doing this.
Chimney XL.
Tesla, I reckon. All right, let's get into On the Radar. Now, this popped up on your desk this morning, Ronnie, or last night?
Well, this was on the news just recently.
Right. Okay.
But it popped up while I was scrolling through, just on my Google. I just go on, just have a look around. And what I found, what really drew me into it was a cockabiddy, a couple, a very experienced bush travelling couple got stranded, bogged, more to say, in a 40-metre patch of just slop on one side. So they were driving in, and one side, it was like a bit damp in there. And there's been so much water down there, so much rain, it just holds it. And this is ages ago, 2 months ago, rain, right? And this same region, Sean from Mission 4x4, he went down there to do a trip, but he cancelled it and went around somewhere else because it was just too wet.
Right.
So this couple had come in, and lo and behold, one side sunk, and they were stuck for 4 days. 4 days. Now, they had an EPIRB. They even had their EPIRB, but they didn't use it until 4 days had been up. So, experienced, he wanted to dig himself out, used the jack, he was digging. And then they were even bottling their urine just in case.
Crazy. When I read that, I was like, far out.
It's nuts, eh?
At least they were thinking about it, though.
Yeah. That's like, that tells you a lot. Like, he's really thinking about it. He doesn't want to bother like emergency services and stuff. He's trying to do everything he can so that, I guess, one, he doesn't end up being the guy in the paper or in the news.
Which he was.
Yeah, or two, like, just doesn't want to, he wants to get out himself.
Yeah. Yep.
So I really respect that. But once his jack broke, that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting because it's probably not the standard on the radar because we're not exactly saying, have a look at this product or that car.
Yeah.
But I think it works perfectly for it because you don't often hear a story like this where it's 4 days bogged, doing everything they can to get themselves out of their own trouble. They had enough supplies to look after themselves for 4 days.
Yeah, food and water.
They had all the right gear. Obviously, the jack broke, but they were packing rocks and sticks and whatever they could find to try and get the car lifted enough.
Yeah.
And then the most important thing is they were carrying an EPIRB.
Yes.
And when all else failed, they popped that out after 4 days.
Activated.
The plane started to fly around, found them, and then the local police were able to come and help them get out. So I think it's a great story in terms of having all the right gear. I think if anything, you're selling an EPIRB here, like go and check them out. That's probably the one that you're looking at.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty bloody good story. Like I'd recommend having a read on it because it's crazy and it shows you where they were and everything like that too on the article.
Yeah, they've done all the right things, and I've been on this track like so many times before, and that's what really drew me in. And I know how much that track can just change really quickly. I've been bogged in that region before, and it is slop. It is like I needed a winch to get out. So yeah, like and if do you see the photos? Like the guy was huge. He was a huge dude, right?
Yeah.
So if he couldn't get out of that, I don't think anyone else could have with the equipment that they had.
Yeah, they're in a Ranger too.
It doesn't matter what car
They
really.
don't usually get bogged, but if they do, I suppose.
Just like that T-shirt behind you, mate.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't towing a jet ski, so.
Now, if looking at EPIRBs, like, where do I go to buy an EPIRB? Because I don't have one myself.
Yeah.
So where are you finding these? What's a good one?
So I've been through a few, and I used to have one called a Spot. It's like that's an American product.
Yep.
So I mean, they'll still work here. You press the emergency, then it goes to America, then it comes back to Australia.
Right.
So you'd be better off buying like something made in Australia, like a GME or something.
Yep.
And that will go straight to the headquarters in New South Wales, and it's like a quicker response.
Yep.
But you're going to get the same result.
Righto.
So the one he had looked like quite an old one. It looked like one you'd have normally on a boat.
Okay, yep.
So he bought that years ago, And it just goes to show, like, you could have one for years. You never think you're going to use it. All of a sudden,
there it is.
You need it.
Yep.
It's there.
A little bit of insurance.
I reckon they might have looked at all the bottles of urine and thought, nah, let's press that.
Get that plane up in the air.
Yeah.
Have you got one, Jaden?
I don't have one, no.
No.
But, that's why I put in the question. Any good recommendations?
Yeah, well, it's a good call.
Yeah.
So are there bad ones?
Not
really.
I haven't heard of a bad one.
Yeah, okay.
But what I will say is the satellite phone that I have now is now just a brick. I've got 2 satellite phones. So when my dad used to travel with us, because he'd be at the back of a convoy, I'd be at the front.
Yep.
We both have a satellite phone in case we had to separate with the tag-along crew we had.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Or we had to separate, someone had to go get spare parts or something, right? So you always got that communication. It's now a brick because the satellite has fallen out of its trajectory or whatever. So they've just sent an email to everyone saying, Harry's in the same boat, Harry from Fire to Fork, that, sorry, your satellite phone no longer works. You need to go and find another provider.
Really?
And another phone.
Just like that?
Yeah, just like that. So I'm like, great.
What, so the satellite fell out the sky?
I don't know what's happened. It's just they lost control on it.
Really?
Yeah, there's
That's pretty
malfunction.
crazy.
Yeah, you can't just
I
send
don't know if I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a bit beyond me.
Oh,
Bit
man.
baffled. Imagine being out there, you're stuck, you need it, and you just... Oh, sorry, we've lost the
Your
satellite.
service provider's gone down.
Yeah.
Sorry, right.
Well, you won't know,
We
will
don't
you?
get Vodafone out here.
So,
Is there a Telstra tower around? Because I need it.
so therefore, I recommend even if you have a satellite phone or you hire one, just bring an EPIRB.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cheap investment for
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you another question, but I just feel like any remote travel, it's handy to have. Like I was thinking I won't even ask it, don't worry. Just get one if you're going remote.
Oh, now I'm interested.
No, it was just more like who needs one, who doesn't, kind of thing. Like,
Look,
but
I even think a hiker, you know, because
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
quite
true.
small now, you know. Like the PLB is tiny.
Yep.
It's tiny.
personal location beacon.
Personal location beacon.
Oh,
yeah,
well
well done.
It sounds like a sandwich. Just clarifying.
Yeah, the BLT and the PLB.
PLB.
Polony lettuce
Just in case you
and
get
bacon.
snacky.
Polony, lettuce and bacon, yeah.
I don't even call it polony. I call it
Don't mind
Straz.
that. You call it what?
I call it Straz, where I'm from.
Straz.
Yeah.
Is that the brand?
Oh,
Strasbourg
yeah,
is,
yeah. Oh, Strasbourg. Oh, yeah, but that's got like other
You guys
things.
call it, do you guys call it
Strasbourg,
polony?
isn't it?
Yeah.
They call it Devon in SA.
I haven't had polony since I was a kid.
Yeah, polony and sauce sandwich.
Yeah.
That was the best.
They were great.
Oh, the old polony.
Jeez,
and
if
tomato
If you're
sauce.
going remote, definitely take
A polony
a
and
polony
sauce.
and sauce sandwich.
Yeah.
Or
Straz and
if you're
sauce.
in Victoria.
And a can of Spam.
No, leave
Well,
that at home.
No.
Take that out and put an EPIRB in.
Yeah.
About the same size. I
Yeah.
reckon.
Yeah.
It is actually almost the same size.
Hey, let's have a look at some Hilux photos from our good mate Rafa.
Yeah.
Has
That's a
sent
good one.
these in. Another on the radar little. That is not a Hilux, if you ask me.
Now that is what will be out in 2025, I dare say.
What do you?
So this is
What do you think it is? Oh,
It is a
that's
Hilux.
disgusting.
that is what is that what's coming actually?
Well, yeah, I know there's another one coming out in 2025. So I believe that must be it.
So this is. Don't take our word for it. I was looking at the camera, not at the back of your screen, if that's what you were thinking. But
No.
I was telling people, don't take our word
Just
for
staring
it.
at me.
You
But-
see the front looks similar to the new Prado that's coming?
Yeah, I can see how it's a Toyota, but I just don't know. If
I'm
it's-
with you on the back though, Jaden.
What's
I'm not
that?
a fan of that.
What's that?
That's-
Where
yeah.
the toe hitch, tow bar.
Oh, that's like the Olympic exhaust. No.
Olympic. Next to the rings.
I don't know what the hell that is.
That is a very modern looking ute.
Oh, I don't like it.
I would not want to scratch
What-
that.
Mm.
You know what? That's the thing with the Hilux, right? Remember then when the N70 came out? I just could not stand that shape.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
true.
that is ugly. And then 2 years later, I'll buy one.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it'll grow. Initial thought, yeah, actually, give it time.
I think
give
it'll
it
grow
time.
because all other cars are starting to have all these weird back ends
Yeah.
and stuff, you know?
You got to keep up, don't you? I
Yeah,
suppose,
yeah.
As a
It's
manufacturer.
missing the Toyota on the back of it, isn't it?
Yeah. Now this is something I
Oh,
could
that
get
just
involved
made
with.
that just made this look really
Yeah.
cool, eh?
Is that,
See that?
now? Is that legit?
Wow.
No, it's
Because I
not
feel
real.
like you're just feeding me photos that aren't going to actually become true.
I am. No, it's not real. It's AI.
Why isn't that the new Hilux? No.
So this is an
That
AI
is the
photo
Kia.
of the Kia Tasman.
That is cool.
It is,
That
and it
is
looks
cool, man.
amazing.
If that becomes what the Kia Tasman actually is,
Yeah.
that's a chance.
See, I would
be in Ronnie's
highly
garage.
consider buying that. Yeah, mate. Every car that comes out is a chance to be in Ronnie's
about
garage.
those tiny little, they're supposed to be D shackles, but they're like, just bow shackles.
Yeah, but you got to take I think you have to take everything on this photo with a massive grain of salt because it's AI.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Wow.
Jeez.
Okay.
yeah.
You just got me excited. I was like, wow, that looks
I know,
cool.
me too. But everyone's saying it's an AI photo.
But I suppose you could pretty
'Cause it-
much, if that's half the shape of the Tasman.
It's not though, but because we've seen the Tasman.
Yeah, it didn't look like this.
It didn't look anything like this.
So maybe this is just not true at all.
Yeah.
Anyway,
This is just car companies, please look at this and say this is what we want.
yeah.
I think AI needs to design a car. It's,
Yeah.
From that photo, that's
Well,
yeah. It's like
It looks rugged, it looks nice, it looks tough.
it's like a Navara
also
cross
But look at the hood scoop on it.
a Ranger
yeah,
cross
that's the tough part.
That's massive. Anyway,
yeah, beautiful.
Oh, quick sip. Dry throat.
quick sip.
All right, so the Hilux, let maybe leave it there just in case that's not actually it. But if it is it,
I'm pretty sure that's
I'm
it.
going to need some time
Yeah,
on that one
you never know though. Like with AI these days, you just can't trust anything.
till I see it.
Yeah.
mean,
But we've seen what AI can do. That's a tough car.
We could be AI.
Oh, don't get me started. It blows my mind every time someone talks about any of that stuff, and it just confuses me for the rest of my day. It's weird. It throws me right off. Let's get into our main topic.
Oh,
'cause-
you were going deeper on that thought, right?
Yeah, no, like deep.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
so that,
Now we're in the Matrix.
just don't get me, don't throw me in there. That's a cyclone, that is.
We're talking auto and manual. That's it. That's
the sun must be up. Ronnie's awake.
The coffee's kicked in.
All right. Actually, quick. What did you notice about the standard squeeze on the way here?
Well, I had this on the center console.
Speaking of your coffee.
And it just stayed on the center console.
Yeah, so you didn't have it in the cup holder.
No, I didn't. I had it on that 3D printed console that's in a 76. And I rocked up and then I looked over when I opened the door because then the light came on. I was like, oh shit, that's where it is.
But because of the rubber,
yeah,
like the dual function of the
it just
if you
didn't
flip
fall
it,
off.
it becomes a stubby holder.
Yeah, this bit here, this rubber bit.
Yeah.
So that's it's bloody.
Good
look at
reminder
that.
to mention that actually.
That's good.
So anyway, the standard squeeze, another winner.
Standard squeeze gets an extra point there. That's for sure.
They're getting a lot of shout outs on this
They
podcast.
are, which is gold.
I love it.
What a good little product.
Mate, if it's good, like why wouldn't we?
If it doesn't fall over.
If it doesn't fall over when you're driving around.
Geez, we're losing it here. All right. We are going to talk manual versus automatic four-wheel driving. I mean, we're not going to talk about... Well, we will talk about what's better, but you've recently moved your fleet of cars towards the automatic transmission.
Well, there's two manual, there's two auto.
Hang on a second.
And I only own one of the autos.
Yeah, but you're going to have to get rid of one of the manuals.
But I don't see you drive manuals anymore, mate. So I don't know. I don't see them.
Yeah,
I know we're fairly close to the city where we're located here, so maybe the manual's a bit hard for you to get down here. But you're sticking with the autos at the moment.
Oh, look, the autos are much more, are much easier to drive just around city and stuff. And that's 76, just the way it drives, and it's much easier. It's probably easier to drive around than the Grenadier as well, because the Grenadier's got that heavy steering,
Yeah.
Yeah, so the 76 is so nimble. Even with the bloody big tyres and that, the steering is it's feather light.
Yeah. Yeah, so I suppose where I want to take this is we've done manual versus automatic before and the strengths and weaknesses of both, especially off-road.
But what to actually choose? What is actually better?
Yeah.
That's the question.
And I think your comparison now after really enjoying the 76 for a good amount of time, we've covered that plenty over this podcast. But with the Grenadier also, like how does it all weigh up for you right now? Like if you were to purchase another car on top of the ones you've already got, like are you still considering manuals? Because I feel like they're starting to starting to phase out a little bit. I feel. I
think we're kind of forced to. We're almost forced into autos these days. There's not many manual options anymore.
Yeah.
And even if there are, let's take the Hilux, for instance. So the Hilux, if you go a manual or an auto, there's some makes and models you can't get manual in anymore anyway. But before, let's say before they did the recent facelift, before you could get a manual, you could get an auto. The manual you would have to order and it would have to be manufactured and then sent to you.
Right.
So you'd be waiting longer. And it's depowered. It's detuned because the clutch can't handle the power that the auto puts out. So,
okay.
So
is that right?
Yeah, it's detuned because instead of making the clutch stronger, which I don't understand why I don't just do that and keep the power the same, it's derated.
Really?
It's a bit like the 70 series when you the V8 when you tune it and you tune it, you give it a good tune, you got to get another clutch because the standard clutch won't hold it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it just slips.
So is that when people talk about getting a heavy duty clutch in a manual?
Yeah.
That's basically just to unlock the power that the car already has.
Exactly. Because they are so detuned,
Yeah.
I mean, it's an engine the VDJ was designed for the 200 series. It was never meant to go in the 70 series, but they only did that because it could keep the emissions and the mines wanted it. So that's one thing there. Like with an auto, we're forced to use autos almost. So if you go back to old school cars, look, the manual, we're at a point where auto is definitely better than manual.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Like if we draw the line like 5 years ago, that's where manual started falling behind and auto started really picking up. So for example, that gearbox that's in the Grenadier, that 8-speed, I mean, that is a very well-known gearbox. and that is used in a lot of different cars now. Also, for people who want to change or do an upgrade in a gearbox, they'll use that 8-speed.
Right.
And that 8-speed, it's just so refined. It's bulletproof. But there's many other automatic gearboxes. They're more programmed and stuff. Also with vehicles, you get more tech with your vehicle. You get more of your downhill assist and all those other things.
With the auto.
Because
that's a big one, I'd say.
Yeah. And the same with cruise control. It behaves much better with an auto than it does with a manual.
I actually struggle to cruise control with a manual.
Yeah.
Does that work? Well, like it doesn't feel like it should work.
No,
you know what I mean?
It definitely works, but it doesn't work as well.
Because if I had this is a novice question, so bear with me, people, because this might not make sense. But so I'm cruising along in my auto Ford Ranger, cruise control on, and I've got like the depth sensors on. So if I get to within, whatever it is, 20 meters of Jayden, it'll slow me up to Jayden's speed. If I'm set at 110 on the freeway, but Jayden's doing 105, I'll be doing 105 exactly 20 meters away from Jayden.
Yep, your radar cruise.
Yep. I don't know what that's called. But if I'm in a manual and that's happening, and say it ends up slowing down to like 60 for whatever reason, my car would just slow down to 60 as well. Like I'd probably turn cruise control off and just drive. But in the manual,
because I don't think it'll work.
It wouldn't work because you need a downshift.
Yeah, you wouldn't, especially. I mean, it's all car dependent as well. Like,
it's a bit of an extreme scenario. Like, it doesn't happen often, but like that wouldn't work.
But I think that's why they're phasing out manuals,
right?
As well. I just don't think that feature would be in the manual variant because I see what you mean. You just can't really get that to work.
Yeah, and that might be a really far-fetched sort of not going to happen anyway, mate. Don't worry about it. But
yeah, well, it could happen, but then you have to downshift. But as soon as you pull the gear stick out of a gear,
cruise control off.
Then cruise control goes off.
Yeah.
So I think it might just work that way,
Okay.
So it'll probably still try and put the brakes on. I mean, the engine will definitely help it slow down.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It's going right down,
I suppose that's what you do have.
Yeah. Look, the real advantage is really off-road with a manual, and that is being able to use engine compression downhill.
Yep.
But we're at a phase now where downhill assist and all that can kind of take over it. But for like real proper off-road sort of situation where it's, where there's big rock steps and things like that, that's where you really need like a reduction gear or a really unique vehicle that has such a good low range first gear. So you don't have to use the brakes too much.
Yep.
But with most vehicles, honestly, with like 95% of vehicles, the way they're set up, you're on your brakes anyway. But we're starting to come to a point where auto is actually really, really good going downhill as long as you don't upgrade tyres and things like that.
Yep.
With the Grenadier is probably the best example here, and it's a very small percentage of all the cars you can get. That first gear low on the auto is phenomenal.
Right.
Even with the slight upgrade of tyres that I've done to it. And that is a very unique thing, right? But car manufacturers are not going to make, cars just for off-road, except for maybe Ineos do that. But everything else is more like for normal general application. So you'd have to modify the vehicle yourself to sort of be able to take on stuff like that.
Yep.
So I think a lot of people who want to do that, they'll gravitate towards the older cars with the manual.
Yep.
But vast majority, 99% of the population, they're going to go for auto.
Yep.
And it makes sense around town and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Also, the advantage of having auto when you are on the rough stuff and you need to sort of, like in a manual, you need to like put your foot up against the side panels so you don't squeeze the accelerator too much, because you get back feed through the whole transmission.
Right.
Because everything's like a metal on metal contact with hopefully a little bit of oil in between or grease, depending on what part it is. So all of that, you get direct feedback. So you can feel what the car's doing more. So you're probably more in sync with the car, but it feels rougher.
Yeah, okay.
And it's also a bit more, it incurs a bit more shock load on the entire driveline on a vehicle. So it's a bit more wear and tear. Whereas an auto, because of because of that automatic gearbox, it absorbs a lot of that. So you don't really get that feedback, which is more of a comfortable ride and it's better for your driveline.
Right.
So there's pros and cons to each thing.
Yep.
But there are other situations where there are different ways you need to understand the vehicle. For example, with a manual vehicle, there are certain things you need to understand that will be different than an automatic vehicle, depending on what you're doing.
Yep.
And that's like locking a gear downhill, uphill, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Recoveries is an interesting one. So when you're off-roading and you're doing a recovery, you should be in second gear low. And it's always good to start second gear low.
Is this manual or auto?
This is manual or auto.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good to start in second gear low. Now, many automatics, you can't do that. With the 76 series, it has a second start. And I know there are other cars that have this too. That allows you to start in second gear, regardless if you're high range or low range. But I'm talking low range. So say if you're bogged on the sand, you want to be in low range. And for the recovery, you want to be in second gear. You don't want to be lower, you don't want to be higher. Because then that way, and then if both people understand it's the same auto's recovering a manual, you both got to be in second gear low. So by the time you take up the slack, the other guy who's being recovered with the snatch strap is up to the same speed.
Yep.
Because otherwise, if he's in first gear and he's locked in first gear, he's going to be revving high.
Yep.
And it's not going to be good. Same thing, vice versa. So there are a few things that need to be understood there.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Jaden's just dropped something in here, which is a lot of stuff, actually. But you've got manual cars. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if you can see that.
No, I can't see it now.
Did I just drop that in front of it?
Dropped
a bunch of stuff.
Move stuff around, but that's all right.
Sorry, mate.
So the manual transmissions accounted for 18.5% of the Toyota Hilux, 14% of Nissan Navara, 11.9% of the Triton, 9.9% of the LDV, the T60, and just under 10 of the BT50 as well. So that's the amount of manual.
Manuals, yeah.
In those makes and models.
I'd love to know what it would have been like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And then 10 years, I reckon we'll see this
so
rapid.
Yeah.
It's dropped 90%.
Was that the other one, is it?
In the decade.
90?
Wow.
90%.
Jeepers.
In a decade.
Yeah, allegedly, according to this one thing, it's dropped allegedly 90% in the past decade, manual sales.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you're going to see that with the 70 series now as well. It's going to be like a massive just drop off. So, I mean, we're all going to autos really, but there are some things that you need to be aware of with an automatic. Now, I know that some vehicles have a little function there. If you need to tow it, you can put it into a certain thing and then you can tow the car. A lot of manuals, you just put it in neutral and then you can tow the car.
Yep.
With a manual, you can also tow start it, push start it.
Yep.
You can't do that with an auto, but you got to be careful with certain autos. If you tow them because the car's just, it's disabled, it can't drive, and you're towing it, there are certain things you need to be aware of. You can't just put it in neutral and just tow it. So this is where you have to get underneath and remove the tail shaft to be absolutely sure if you're going to tow it for a long duration of time.
Yeah, okay.
Because
that's not what you want to be doing.
It just doesn't, the gearbox will not like it.
I'm going to go back to the Land Cruisers because I feel like they fit both. They've got both options at the moment. If the V8 hangs around for a while, say, did Toyota ever consider putting an auto into the V8?
They won't because...
Imagine that.
Yeah. Yeah, I look, the general public would love that.
That'd be awesome.
I would love that too. But there are two things that are going to stop that. One is there's no point in Toyota doing that because the reason why that 70 manual is around is for the mines.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
It's not for the general public. It's not the reason why it's here. Although the general public have bought heaps of them. The other reason is that V8 is not going to pass emissions anymore.
Yeah, true. I keep forgetting about those.
Yeah. So say if we were back in time and they had a manual and an auto option, I reckon they'd probably have way more people in that vehicle. But then
I'd be in one already, I reckon.
That drop sales on the 200 though.
Yeah, it would too.
It'll drop sales on that,
Yep.
So it's a bit like, there's a lot of vehicles like that. It's a bit like Sony when they bring out a new camera. It has all these features and that, but there's always some things that are missing. Then you get the DSLR version that has all these cool things and it's such a better price. It can almost do everything that the bigger camera can do, but it doesn't have, like, I probably shouldn't use those terms here because it's a full drive podcast, but like, ND filters, blah, blah, blah. Say it doesn't have all these other cool features. So you're kind of like, well, you got to buy one or the other. And that's because if they put too many features on the other camera, they're going to lose sales in that. Everyone's just going to go for that. So it's a bit like all car manufacturers do it as well. It's like your Prado has this tech, your Kaluga has this tech. But imagine if the Kaluga was a four-wheel drive. No one will buy the Prado.
Yeah.
Because the Kaluga has all this other tech. So it's one of those things.
It's like they could make the ultimate car, but they choose not to so they can sell all of them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a little sting four-drive podcast driven by Shelter. Back. I just had a bit of a leaky nose there. Needed a tissue. Where were we?
My standard squeeze has been completely squeezed. I should have refilled while you...
You should have. Could have ducked down in the corner shop.
You can always grab one of those warm beers behind you, mate.
I did last time. Oh, so dry. I had to.
That's outrageous. That's how I feel right now, but I'm not having a warm beer, that's for sure.
At least the sun was up then. It's up now too. Yeah.
All good? Got me?
All good.
Okay, all right. Let's get back into it. Now, you wanted to touch on, Ronnie, out bush. Fixing,
fixing and what's...
Yeah, because you go for it. But in my mind, that's where a manual can come in handy over an auto.
Yeah. I mean, that's
bush
where
mechanics.
That's where you have bush mechanics. That's where you'd have your advantage for sure.
Yep.
If you ask me how to fix your automatic gearbox, I'll be like, mate, I have no idea. Ask me how to fix your manual gearbox, I'd also be like, mate, I'll see what I can do, but I'm not guaranteeing anything.
It's better than what I'd come up with.
But look, we had a manual Ranger on a tag along once, and she crunched her gearbox at some stage. It just failed on her, and the only gears I could find for her, because I could find gears, that was first gear and third gear. Couldn't get second, couldn't get fourth, fifth could get sometimes. Reverse gone. A reverse was just done for.
Is the engine on?
The engine was on when it happened. While driving.
Is this like you're driving and can find first and third?
We're sitting there and the car's on.
Okay,
and it's just putting it in and lifting the clutch. Have we got it? Have we got it?
Yeah. Okay, so it's actually just the act of sliding it into first and third.
Yeah. Just something had happened. It's like the whole thing shifted and it's like you couldn't get to certain gears, but it was like a catastrophic failure.
Yeah, okay.
So she had no reverse. So no matter what, she had to go forward. Yeah. Eventually we had to get her out and she limped home. So she was happy to drive it home. We got her out to a point we recommended to get a tow truck, but she thought about it and decided to, you know what, I'm going to drive home. I'm going past all these roadhouses on a main road. And then this is a bit beyond the story, but she nearly got home. And then something else happened. There was smoke coming out of the car, and then the cops pulled her up, and then they stickered the car.
Oh!
So it was like a triple whammy for her. Yeah.
So she drove home in third gear.
She drove home in third gear. I think that might have been what might have done something at the end, but I mean that was a long drive for her as well.
You'd have to have your patience doing that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Imagine fanging along in third.
Yeah. What did she do? She came up and saw me at the full drive show. I think she's in a Toyota now since then.
Trader.
But anyway, look, the common person cannot fix an automatic out in the bush. It's just, I don't see it happening. I have no understanding of how to do it anyway. But with a manual, yes, you can manage to find the gear or something.
Yep.
And you can also pull start it and stuff. It's So it does have its advantages, but I think that people are just going to be forced to drive autos in the future, really, because I think all the safety features they're adding to a vehicle, it's hard to implement those to a manual. And for the amount of manuals they're selling these days, I don't think it's worth them doing all this extra software and stuff, because there's a lot of software in cars now, So they have to have two complete different behaviors, stock extra parts for something that they're only going to sell 9% off, or we just spoke about before, you know. So
BT50, you get 9.5% of
yeah,
your sales on them.
yeah. But I mean, look, out bush, if your starter motor fails, well, you just pull start the car. If it's a manual. In an auto, you're gonna have to get your breaker bar out, your wheel brace thing, and then just tap the starter motor, keep flicking it over, and just hope for the best. And this has happened to the old boy's Jeep once. Starter motor just failed. I towed him for 200 Ks. This is the back tracks of the Holland track. You're like not on the Holland track, but out of that area. And it was a lot of mud around and mud holes, and he was getting ragdoll through all these things. He had a cracked window, cracked headlight. He was just holding on for dear life. Eventually, his battery completely went out, so his steering was super heavy, and his comms, he couldn't talk to me anymore on the comms. But to be honest, he didn't talk to me much anyway because
driving along
he was just holding on.
This Jeep on his roof.
Oh man, it was rough, man. Like there was one section I had to go through and just had to boot it because otherwise I'll get stuck, and we had two cars stuck. So
your dad's airborne behind you.
Well, so I'm like pulling him hard. I'm going into this hole, and then I'm like slowed right down, so the Jeep catches up to me, and then I get out the other side, and then while he's in the middle of it, he's just like boing, he just got flying out, you know.
I wouldn't mind saying that. Actually.
So yeah, but
any footage?
There is a little bit on YouTube. There's a short clip there of him getting towed through some stuff. And we got to where we were camping the next day. I kid you not, we jump started his car. His starter motor worked.
Really?
Yeah, all that rough bouncing around.
Kicked it into gear.
It kicked it into gear.
That's funny. So is that what you mentioned before? That little story, is that the reason why you think autos have started to just take over from manual?
Oh look,
it's just been a progression that has really been able to keep up with. I would say
everyone's wanted auto. I guess. I guess that's what people want, you know. So that's just why it's going that way. But to answer the question, what's better, remote outback, manual?
Yep.
Because if you have some kind of mechanic mind, or you're tinkering with stuff, you'll be able to get out. Yeah. More of a chance to get out, I'll say. But with an auto, you kind of I don't know. I don't know how to. I wouldn't know how to fix it. Most people wouldn't know how to fix it.
Okay.
Overheating your oil as well, inside your gearbox, the fluid, that can also, Look, there's pros and cons. I mean, you could stuff your clutch up out bush, and I've seen people do this. They're bogged in sand. They don't understand they need to be in low range, and they're trying high range, and they've completely cooked the clutch. And they're a sitting duck because they're just slipping. So there's pros and cons for both.
Yeah.
We're in auto, he probably would get a similar result with overheating the oil, but he'd probably get out, but he'd have to change the oil later.
Yeah, okay. That was another question on here, the overheating issues.
Yeah, it's just on some cars. So depending on if you are going to tow with this vehicle, and it's not like a known vehicle to tow with, or it's known that it does heat a little bit, then I would upgrade the cooling on it, and that shouldn't cost too much. Okay. Upgrading, like putting like another cooling, some reservoir on it to add to it, it doesn't usually cost that much. Yep. And it's going to do a great improvement on a vehicle because cooling can only be better, right?
Yep. Pretty happy. What are we picking?
I'm happy. You happy?
Yeah, I think it's an auto that we're picking though, isn't it?
Doesn't auto make you softer though?
Yeah,
I was going to say, you're cooler if you drive a manual.
Yeah.
You probably are, to be honest.
My calluses are disappearing from
you boys are both automatic drivers.
You are too at the moment.
I'd say at the moment I'm...
That's true.
I'm 70% automatic driving and 30% manual driving. I probably just more like 80 and 20. Yeah. I just moved the manuals to get the auto out.
It must be on a Wednesday when we record, it's 100%.
Yeah, it's 100%
auto.
So I'm assuming every other day as well.
Yeah, because we know how hard it is to move all his chariots around, or whatever you call them.
Hey, mate, until you get your gearbox fixed, you're still soft too, mate.
Yeah. Our manual gearbox is hard to find at the moment, Jaden.
Not really.
Yeah, not really.
Just haven't bought one.
I haven't pulled the trigger on one yet.
Not for a 70.
Yeah. They're everywhere.
Oh,
Just go and nick one out of Ronnie's cars.
Plenty of, yeah.
Not a bad idea. But I want one that's actually in good condition.
Flogged. Look, I'm probably, if I'm picking in the future, I'm probably trying to, an auto suits me. I don't
But you
have a
can't drive a
license,
manual
but
either.
if I had it, I'd still probably be thinking about the auto. But obviously my dream cars are in a manual, but
You know, it brings up that question again, like, do people actually need a bloody manual license anymore? You know what I mean?
shouldn't. I'm a big one for it.
It's
Yeah, so everyone's more like
Shouldn't.
in saying that, both my daughters, I will be teaching them manual, and I'll be teaching them how to change a tire, and I'll be teaching them how to plug a tire.
Yeah.
Just those three things, I think, should be something they need to learn, especially if they're going to want to borrow a troopy and drive around Australia or something later on. So
That'd be nice.
you got to know how to change your tire.
It's a very specific.
Yeah.
I think unless look, I think most people just need an automatic license. Anyone who's born now, they won't even be able to get a manual license. I reckon they're going to be hard. They're hard to find a car to actually do a manual test in.
Yeah. Yep. Because that was the reason I don't have mine. Just mum and dad didn't have a manual at the time.
Yeah.
And then when I got my license, dad ended up getting a manual, so my brother learnt in it. But it's like, they're just not around that much anymore. So it's good. Like the girls, they're lucky they've got the manual to learn in.
Yeah.
Are they? Is your eldest on the? Is she almost Al's time or?
No, she's 13 at the moment.
Oh,
so
right, okay. So
she's got a while ago.
Yeah.
But they have been driving cars off road.
Yeah,
off-road.
yeah. Not driving you down to the pub on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Come pick me up.
There's footage of it, but I choose not to put that stuff.
Yeah.
Too much on the internet.
Maybe that's another thing, is like the lack of access to manual cars is making people not want to drive manual cars. Like, you're not going to go and buy a whole new car just so you can teach someone
100%.
to drive in a manual, right? Like,
just natural.
most people aren't going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But imagine like in like 30 years in the future, right? And then you got to show your ID somewhere and be like, whoa, you got a manual license.
My God, this guy's a genius.
Legend.
Legend alert.
Legend.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I from
Well,
everything I've heard, automatics are almost better. They're the better product at the moment.
All round.
They will be and it's all vehicle dependent. Like you can't beat a manual 70 series.
Well, you can.
Well,
In an automatic 70 series, apparently, according to all your tests.
yeah. Well, the manual's still better downhill. Going uphill is different, but going downhill for control, the manual is better. Yeah.
So anytime I go downhill, I want to get a manual. But if I'm ever doing anything else, I want to get an auto.
Yeah. Just get a reduction gear, and then it doesn't matter. Or get a Grenadier.
Just get a Grenadier.
Just get a Grenadier.
It's got 8 gears. They're all
All
auto.
right, four-wheel drive podcasters. That's the advice. Get a Grenadier.
Are you sure they're not paying you?
Yeah, so what's going on here?
They are not paying.
They're actually not.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
What?
And I could get in serious trouble saying that they're not if they were. Just to clarify, they are not.
They are
Okay.
not.
Yeah, no. You don't get paid a lot to do anything, do you?
No.
You just kind of do whatever you want.
Does it for the love of it.
Yeah, you just buy a car to just add to your fleet, and soon you're going to have one of those car yards that's just full of cars. Me and Doug are going to rock past your house and go, "Oh, mate, do you mind if I borrow your 60 series, your 78, your 79? Can I borrow the Ineos, mate?"
There are limits to what I can, to my fleet. Like as you guys know, there's one that's about to go soon. You guys know more about which one it is. So because money comes from somewhere. It's called a mortgage.
Oh, right.
Let's hit
Anyway,
let's hit around the fire pit, eh?
Yeah.
Happy with that? Manual v auto?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Hopefully people got out of that. It
Yeah.
felt like a bit of a full circle conversation, but
I think the end of it is like it comes down to preference.
yeah.
What do you
But that
prefer?
preference is now restricted. It's. I think
That's true, but you're also not buying.
Yeah.
Most people probably aren't buying the newest vehicle on the market, so that you can go back 10 years and buy buy a manual Ranger or a manual Hilux or whatever, or you can buy the newest one and have fewer options.
Yeah.
So I think it just depends on what you want, and if you do want a manual, you can find one.
You can definitely find one, and you may get a good price in future because not many people can actually drive them.
Yeah.
So that could be another thing. So look, to our listeners, hey, tell us what you think. Would you prefer a manual or an auto? And get on that voice thing too.
Yeah, get on the voices.
Get on the voice thing.
Get on the voices.
Go the voice. Oh yeah, I'll shut this down.
You straight.
Have we got
into
any
that.
today? Got any questions?
Wow.
That was heavy.
It was quiet. It was loud.
Fierce fire.
Questions.
So I've got too close to the sun.
You have? Oh.
Did you boys see the Aurora Australis?
No, I didn't, but I've caught it before when it was in the southern
guys.
region.
My name's Eric. Quick question.
you got one.
In relation to the resale value of these non-hybrid diesels that are on the market at the moment, in particular the Ineos Grenadier, which I'm kind of considering myself, where do you see the resale value of a car like that in 5 to 10 years if everything sort of starts to transition to hybrid in the next couple of years? Thanks, Seth.
Oh, that
We got one.
that's a
It was Eric.
that's a good question. When did that come in?
Just touch your cable.
You there?
Yeah, there we
Got
go.
me? Oh, I'm
There we
back.
go.
I'm back.
Did that
You're
literally just come in then?
Nah.
Oh, so
Oh,
Have
yes.
pre-prepared, boys.
He's been holding them on us.
nice. There might be 100.
There could
Oh,
be heaps.
man.
We might have enough for
Wow.
years.
You
Oh.
cheeky,
Well,
cheeky
Eric's the
bastard.
first off the rank though, so well done, Eric. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, Eric is
Appreciate
the first
that.
one that I played, but not the first one that we received.
Okay.
That's all right. He gets first spot.
But he does get first spot. Yeah, sorry.
So there is more, you bastard.
Oh, there might be.
Oh, hello.
There might be one more.
More importantly, Eric's question.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Do you remember it?
Yes, I do. That's a bloody good question. Like, with all the hybrids coming in, resale value in 5 years on a car like that, I reckon would be good. I reckon will be good.
Because it becomes more of a unique, rare buy.
Yes. But there will be a period of time where it will be epic, but then all of a sudden there'll be a rapid decline, and that'll be when most of us, the entire population, are used to having just hybrids.
Okay.
And if all those hybrids are petrol and electrical, diesel in sort of remote areas are going to start phasing out, and you'd almost be better off driving one of those cars to get through. But to get to that point will be a long time, I would say. I mean, we might be bloody flying drones everywhere in cars or something by then.
Yeah.
But next 5 years, Eric, I reckon that the resale value will be pretty high.
Yeah. Did you hear that through? Yeah,
Was that you?
headphones? Yeah, my throat.
I thought that was me. It sounded in my head.
No,
I
it
thought
was
it was
me.
me, but it was you.
It was me. Right, edit that out.
Bit hungry?
No, I don't know. It was like here.
This is such a rogue podcast today.
But yeah, it's a good point on Eric's question.
Yeah, what do you reckon?
I think there will be a time where it is like it's a collector's item almost.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe that's not 5 to 10 years. Like I think the Grenadier
I think it'll hold its
will hold its value
Value
through
in
that
yeah.
period of time. But I'm thinking more past that.
Yes.
Like the V8 Toyota Land Cruiser will, you know how the 60 series is kind of like they're expensive because they're a collector's item almost. Like they're sought after for that reason.
Yeah.
I think we may end up being in that situation with a Grenadier or the old diesel. You got an old diesel car like from 2024.
Yeah.
Like I think that's where it's going to go. I might be way off, but I feel like they will have a decent resale
They
value.
will. I reckon they will. So the other thing as well, like a company like Ineos who make the Grenadier, they will be able to produce this car longer than other manufacturers will want to produce their diesel options because they're going to get hit with this tax.
Yeah.
Right?
But
Whereas they don't make that many cars.
Yes, yeah.
So
That's a
they
good point.
don't really get hit with that tax.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, it'll probably change and they'll make it harsher. But
All their tickets will be on just the Grenadier. Like, they're not like dispersing it across 8 different vehicles.
Yep.
Yeah, I get you.
So,
but in the same sense, when these companies are making their diesel cars and their hybrid cars and their electric cars, it's the entire fleet that has to average out to come underneath. So if they just make more electric cars that are well under that line that they have to be under, they can continue to make diesel cars because the average just has to be under.
they can, but the problem with someone like Toyota is they'll sell 100,000 units of something, whereas a smaller company would only sell so many units of the diesel pollutant cars, right? So it's the sheer volume that's it's not the price of the car, it's more how much emission they're doing. So I get what you're saying, they can offset it with another car, but they're going to be a while off before they can offset it because people aren't sold on that shit yet.
No, that's true.
Yeah. So that's where that's where this dilemma is. But for someone who's just happy to sell 20, 30,000, maybe 40,000 cars a year, like Ford or Toyota wouldn't even get out of bed unless they sold 100,000 or 200,000 units of a car, you know?
True.
Mm.
Yep.
Good point.
Which then also brings up another factor that's if Toyota keep doing the 70 series, the diesel options and the 300 series, what they're going to do is they're just going to add the tax. They're going to make the customer pay for that tax, right? They're going to add that to the car to because then that's just what they'll do because they know people are still going to want to buy them. But that's now going to raise the price up close to like cars like a Grenadier and those other things. So they're going to be like tit for tat, you know?
Yep.
It's going to be interesting times anyway.
Mm. Well, get around
G'day, guys. Love the potty. You're absolutely killing it. Currently in the Flinders Ranges, giving it a good listen, and it's helping me chew up a few of the Ks. My question is, if you're going to buy a four-wheel drive, would you rather buy a modern-day dual cab, say like a Triton, and have $30,000 or $40,000 for diesel, or are you going a 79 or 76 series? Cheers, boys. Keep up the good work.
Look, personally, I would go a dual cab of a 70 because I know the car.
A dual cab 70 you'd go.
Yeah, because I know the car. To me, I don't have reliability anxiety or anything like that. It's a great point because you could have all this extra money for fuel and it will make sense, right? So if you're used to...
And some decent mods.
And some decent mods. So... And spare parts and all that too, you know. So I think it comes down to your budget and what you're comfortable with. So say if I've been driving Tritons or Mitsubishis for my whole entire life and I had a good run with them, that's probably what I'll be sticking with, you know.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've still got that novelty of what a 70 series would be like. So I haven't experienced that and I'd love to do that. And I think that would be the ultimate sort of, you know, if you're in the Flinders Ranges having a 70 series, you're travelling across Australia, whatever you're doing, that'd be pretty fun to do it in that.
Yeah.
But I'm probably of the opinion that, I think you can do plenty in a Triton. Plus you've got all that money up your sleeve to actually do the trip.
Yeah.
Rather than buying a 79 and not having any money to go and actually take off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that I think you're going to get to as many places with a modern dual cab ute, with some decent mods, you'll be comfortable. It'll probably be an auto. You've got your spare parts and you've got enough money for fuel to get a lap in.
Yep.
So I think that's where I would land, even though I'd love to do it in a 79.
Yeah.
But I think for getting out there and getting into it, you can't really fault a dual cab ute, really, can you?
No.
For just practicality on all fronts. It's
more like just ready to go. You just throw your shit in the back.
Yep.
Get the camp, pull it out.
Yep.
You know. Look, it's a really, really good question, and it's definitely down to the individual. But yeah, it's a good thing to raise because most people just need to understand. Look, it's not about the car really; it's about getting out there.
Yeah.
But from where I was coming from was just. I'm used to the car. I understand the car.
Yeah, definitely.
If I took all that out of the equation, I would agree with that because the simpler the camp is, the simpler your setup is, I feel like the more fun you have. The trip I just came back from, I didn't have all the trinkets and stuff like I have in the troopy. I actually had a bit of time, even though we're filming, I had a bit of time to just chill out, have a look at this, have a look at that, go for a bit of a stroll through the bush, see what I can find, that kind of thing. But anyway, thanks for your voice message. Enjoy the Flinders Ranges. I heard they had a bit of rain out there.
Do we have a name?
Name for the last one?
Yeah, Daniel.
Daniel. Thanks, Daniel. I wonder what he's in.
He's in Triton.
Oh, he's driving a Triton, or he said...
Yeah, I think he said he was in a Triton.
Yeah.
He said he was in a Triton.
G'day, guys. Love the potty. You're absolutely killing it. Currently in the Flinders Ranges, giving it a good listen, and it's helping me chew up a few of the Ks. My question is, if you're going to buy a 4-wheel drive, would you rather buy a modern-day dual cab, say like a Triton, and have $30,000 or $40,000 for diesel, or are you...
He might be in a Triton.
He might be in a Triton.
Maybe.
There's potential. He's not in a Triton.
No.
Well, he could be in anything.
But
we don't
sent
know.
a voice message, and that's what we're after. So thank you to Daniel. Thank you to Eric.
Mate, unreal.
You got another one?
G'day, Ronnie. How you going, mate? Luke here from Useless Luke. Just got a quick question for you. Why don't you answer to your socials, Instagram and all that sort of stuff? Just curious. When you're at Steep Point there, I thought give it an invite into Useless Luke and see what it's all about. But yeah, you missed out anyway. But all good. Keep on wheeling, guys. See ya.
Luke from Useless Luke.
Thanks, Luke.
Luke, if it makes you feel better, he doesn't answer my messages either, mate. So
Yeah. Look,
10 days later, he might get back to you.
Between YouTube, email, this is the order I answer of. YouTube, email, Instagram, WhatsApp, Instagram.
That's where we come in, WhatsApp.
Yep,
So
there
we're
we are.
third on the list.
Yep, we're in there.
TikTok, and somewhere in between this is messages as well. And at the moment, just to confirm, how many messages have I got unanswered?
22.
22.
Just in
And
your
how many
messages.
missed calls?
18.
18. So,
And that's only this morning.
yeah, Luke, I apologise for not getting back, but it's just the nature of, pretty much I'm back on solo operation as well. But even before being on solo operation, there's just no time in the day really so I'm just editing, smashing that out, doing podcasts, communicating with some family and friends, not all unfortunately, and then I get home and there's family time. So I kind of need someone else just to sort of answer those kind of things for me. Unfortunately, that's every morning I wake up, it says like Instagram will say like you have 67 or 88 or something like that notifications since you were in quiet mode. So tell us what we missed. Tell us what I missed out on. I want to know. Now you got me really curious.
It's like is it a little mine out there?
It's a little town out there, but yeah, is it a salt mine?
I don't know. I thought it was a salt mine, but I could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
I should probably be Googling that.
That's all right, mate.
I think it's like a mineral mine.
Maybe we get Luke to
tell us more, Luke.
back in.
Tell us more.
How many more of these have you got?
Nah, that's
it for
this one.
today.
Yeah, I think that's it for this one.
No
I
worries.
don't know if we need any more.
All right.
Save them for the next one.
Yep.
Please send them in.
Those blunt, straightforward questions, I love them because it allows me to sort of explain these things, because it's not something I can just go, oh, by the way, guys, I don't do this because of this. It just sounds a bit weird.
Yeah.
So
Couldn't be prompted on it.
I like it. Yeah.
So why did you not message me back the other day? Nah, Joe. If you like these blunt questions, mate, I'll hit you. All right.
Oh,
That might be us.
yep.
Thank you to Eric, Daniel, Luke,
Eric, Daniel, and Luke.
the trio of our first voice messages.
So who was the first one?
Eric.
Eric.
Well, Daniel sent in the first one,
okay.
but Eric got played first.
on it? Even.
Yeah, I'll let you do your...
Righto, Forward Drive podcast driven by Shavel. So that was manual versus automatic. Hopefully you got something out of it. Southern Riverman with Let Her Ride. Go check out their new single. We're on Instagram, Forward Drive podcast. BackChat is where our YouTube episodes are. Thank you to our patrons. And, of course, get over to that BackChat Studios website Four Drive Podcast, a little tab, and send us a voice message. Cheers.
I'm totally squeezed out. Now I've got to go squeeze some messages out.